unmute. And I'm gonna come around on the other side here. All right.
Video looks really good on this camera.
I know. It's like nice everybody. Hey everybody, can the folks who have their camera on give me a wave if you can hear me? Yay, all right. My name is Laura. I am the Community Engagement Coordinator here at the Seward Co-op in Minneapolis. We are a full-service cooperative grocery store with 2 locations. We started doing these classes virtually this year because we wanted to keep connecting with all of you throughout the pandemic and do it in a safe and responsible way. So we're super glad that we have Koshiki Smith back with us today, teaching us some Japanese cooking. She's amazing, and I'm just gonna give it up for her. Oh, a couple of notes. Type the questions that you have into the chat. I'll be the one passing them along to Koshiki as she's cooking. And then we will be recording this class and it'll be available for a full week after the class is over. And I'll send the email with the class link out to everybody either tonight or tomorrow morning. So you can keep your eyes peeled for that and keep an eye out for more of our classes. We'd love to have you join us again. All right, we'll give it over to Koshiki.
Hi, thank you, Laura. Welcome. My name is Koshiki. See some familiar faces. I just want to first say thank you to Seward Co-op for hosting this class. I used to teach in-person class, but with the pandemic, we're moving virtually. But with that, we can have so many of you joining us. It used to be just 15 of you, but now everybody can join, and that's from all over the world, which is a really wonderful thing. And it's free and it's open for all. So hopefully you and your friends can join today and for the future classes. Again, my name is Koshiki. I'm from Japan. I grew up in Japan, born to a Japanese father and American mother. I spent most of my childhood there, and then I moved here in the United States back in late 80s and went to high school here. After college, myself and my husband, we decided to open a Japanese restaurant. When I first moved here, there weren't so many Japanese restaurants and nothing that I kind of call it like a home cooking. So I kind of like wanted to do something similar to that. So my husband and I opened a restaurant here in Minneapolis, or in St. Paul, I guess. And we ran it for about 17 years. We did home cooking, so it was like a casual, affordable, healthy Japanese food in the casual environment. Oh, I see some kids and familiar families.
Someone's watching from Japan and they say konnichiwa.
Oh my goodness. I only get to see maybe 12 of you, so if I missed you, I'm sorry, but I'm so glad you're. We've had over, 200 people sign up today, so thank you all for signing up. But anyways, so we had a restaurant then, we had restaurant then. When I had the restaurant, I always had the passion for taking people to Japan on culinary trips. So 3 years ago, I decided to pursue my dream and left the restaurant. So anyways, I take groups to Japan. Of course, with the pandemic, it's not happening this year, maybe again next year. If you're interested in what I do or who I am, on your recipe, here's some information on the bottom. You can check our website. I have blog. That's where I post a lot of recipes from the restaurant and other things that I cook at home. I also have Instagram, which I'm not too active, but then I have an email if I don't get to answer your questions today, or if you have any other questions, feel free to send me an email and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Anybody cooking along with me? Some people are. Okay, wow. Oh, everybody on the screen raise hands. Okay, good. Last few times, a few classes, I had so many people cooking along, and it's been really, really great for me. It's really fun. Normally, I, cook with other people in the class, but it's really great way to engaging. So, anyways, if you are cooking along with me, you have rice. Maybe you can start the rice so it'll get cooked in like 45 minutes or an hour. I have my rice here washed and pre-soaked. I'm using this rice here from the co-op. I'm just gonna put it in my rice cooker back here. Mine has a twinkle twinkle little star song. It's starting. I know we're gonna be using dashi for the recipe today. If you have dashi already, that's great. I don't, so I'm just gonna start mine here in the small pot. And this is kelp that I've been pre-soaking. I'm gonna soak it for a little bit longer. And if you're cooking with me, you start the oven to 350 degrees for the baked mochi.
Is this recipe better with long grain rice or short grain rice?
Short grain rice, yep. And I've been running classes, and I had the sushi rice from maybe a couple classes back. I'm just gonna use this medium short grain white rice. If you're using brown rice, that works too.
Another quick question.
Oh.
Someone has something called dashi moto, and that's all that they could find. Will that work?
Is it like a powdered form of dashi maybe? I don't know. Is that called Ajinomoto?
Dashinomoto?
Dashinomoto. I think, yeah, that'll work. You just have to mix it in with water or warm water. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, perfect. Okay, let's do the ingredients. Well, let me just read off what we're cooking today. Many of you guys seem like you're ahead of me, but so we're gonna do Oyako Donburi. This was requested by one of the participants that took the class. She's like, please do the Oyako Donburi. So I'm like, okay. This is the rice bowl dish where the meat and chicken and eggs gonna be served on top of bed of rice. So that's donburi, right? So we'll do that. Then we're gonna do a namasu, which is a little pickled daikon, radish, and carrots. Then we're also gonna have baked mochi for dessert. Okay. All right, so let's do the ingredients. If you can just twist the camera just a little bit.
Sure can.
You can get a better view. Yep. Okay, so I have vegetables here. Yep. We have daikon radish. I had a big round one. I just cut it in half. If you have a long skinny one, that's okay too.
That was probably
Oven maybe. Carrots, some green onions. I have some lemon. Now let's see. Since I'm making dashi from scratch, I have the kelp. If you have other dashi, go ahead. Rice. Again, we're using the medium or short grain white rice today. Rice wine vinegar. Now you can find all of this here at Co-op. I have regular soy sauce. If you use tamari, that's fine. We have mirin, which is the sweetened rice wine. A little bit of cooking oil. Let's see, toasted sesame seeds. I also have bonito flakes. So I'm gonna make dashi with this.
Someone would like to know if they can use fish sauce as a gluten-free substitute for soy sauce.
Ooh, maybe not on this recipe. It's, I think fish sauce might be a little too strong for this recipe. If you have tamari, that would be best. I think that's the only alternative I can think of right now. Then we have the glutinous rice flour. There are other brands you can find too. And I have little nori to sprinkle on top. I have onion and then I have chicken and unsweetened coconut milk for the baked mochi. Okay, so that's the ingredients. All right, so we're gonna start with what takes the longest time. So baked mochi, we're gonna start with that, and then we're gonna put that in the oven. And then we're gonna work on the pickled daikon and carrots, then Oyako Donburi. Okay.
Let's see. They are wondering about ingredients for the dashi from scratch. Is that in that recipe?
On this one, maybe not.
Okay.
It's kelp, dry kelp soaked in cold water. Then I'll walk you through it. Hopefully that'll be helpful. Okay, so this baked mochi, maybe you've had it before, maybe not. It's kind of like a cake, pound cake, made with not flour, but glutinous rice flour and coconut milk instead of milk or cream or half and half. And it's just super easy. So when I had the restaurant on the weekends, it's like super busy and whatnot. We used to have a lady, her name is Joyce. She was from Taiwan and she's a great home cook. And she would like occasionally bring sweets in on the weekends so we can nibble on. And this is one of the things she brought in and we just like totally fell in love with it. And I started making it at home and sometimes we would serve this at the restaurant. So this is very easy to make, pretty much just like mixing it and put it in the oven. So let me walk you through it really quick. I'm gonna grease a pan here.
Koshiki, your restaurant was Tampopo, right?
Yep, Tampopo Noodle Shop, yep. Grease the pan really quick. You have a spray, cooking spray that works too. Okay, and then I pre-measured everything. I'm gonna move these so you can see the counter a little bit better. Down here, okay. So it's basically mixed dry ingredients, wet ingredients combined together, put in the pan and put it in here. Easy. Okay. Let me grab, let's see, something to mix this with. Okay.
So this is the mochi and we're making it first. So
Yeah, we're making the mochi first. So I have the glutinous flour, rice flour. I'm gonna, in here, add the sugar. Just gonna make sure my page is on so I won't miss anything. Yeah. So this is about ½ pound, and then add sugar.
Would any white rice flour work for the glutinous flour or not really?
It has to be glutinous flour, okay. So it gives you the nice doughiness. That's what it makes it called mochi. Now this is a little different from mochi. Say you're in Japan and eating mochi or a mochi that goes in the soup. These are, this is different and this is sweetened version of it. Okay, so I mixed the flour and sugar and baking soda and baking powder. Yep. So that's all the dry ones. And in here, we don't have my liquid.
No.
Okay. I'm gonna melt the butter in
Do another pan?
the oven in here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. And then now we have 3 eggs.
Did you do the baking powder part yet? They're wondering if it's 1/4 of a tablespoon of baking powder or a fourth of a teaspoon?
I think it's teaspoon.
Okay.
Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. Quarter tablespoon baking powder. You know what? Good thing because I think I might have measured it wrong. A little spacey today, but we'll see. Let me add a little bit more. Yeah, I was using teaspoon. So that would be quarter tablespoon baking powder. Yep.
Quarter tablespoon.
Yep. Sorry about that.
All good.
Okay, and that is let's see if this bowl is big enough to hold it. Maybe not. Let's see. I have a feeling this bowl's not gonna be enough to hold everything, so. Okay, then in here, the coconut, unsweetened coconut milk. Now Joyce used to cook this with half coconut milk and half cream or half and half. That works really good too.
So the half pound of flour, yes, rice flour, how much is that in cups approximately? Would you know?
That would be, it's probably about a cup and a half, less than 2 cups, maybe about 2 cups.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Oh, this is a chunky one. Okay. If you have a smoother liquidy one, I think that works the best. Okay. Transfer this to a bigger thing.
It was fourth of a tablespoon of the baking powder, correct? Or was it teaspoon? Did we land on?
Tablespoon. Yeah.
Tablespoon, okay.
Just what it says, quarter tablespoon baking powder. Yep. Okay. All right, I'm gonna whisk this because mine's very chunky. How's yours? Yours okay? Let's see people's faces. That's okay.
What could we use instead of all coconut milk?
You can do half coconut milk and like a half and half. If you're not so big on coconut flavor, you can definitely substitute with milk or half and half. Cream would be a little bit too much. Milk, half and half might be a good option. All right. Normally doesn't even take this long, but let me just make sure I break up all the chunks. Okay, then in here, I'm gonna mix the dry ingredients. Or you can do it other way around. I just, this bowl's bigger, so I'm just gonna go ahead and put this in. And you don't need to whisk it too hard, just enough to incorporate the wet and dry mixture. Add just a teeny tiny bit of water. Okay. And then here, let's add the melted butter. I usually just put butter in the microwave to melt it, but this works.
That
Just
works.
make sure you don't burn your hands. Okay. This is actually my kid's favorite, one of the favorite desserts. Happy to know that I'm making this. Let me change this, switch this over to spatula.
We get a look at what
Yeah.
it looks like.
Yeah. Just looks like cake batter almost, right? You see it? It's almost like a pancake batter. And just pour it right in. I'll be a good scraper, right? I always say this to everybody. All right. Okay. So it's like this, and I'm gonna put this in the oven. Usually take about 40 minutes on my oven. This one, we'll give it a try. I'll give it maybe 30 minutes, then I'm gonna take a peek, then see how it goes. Okay. All right. Let me set a timer because I tend to forget. So let's set for 30 minutes and probably gonna be a little bit longer. But better be safe than sorry. So let's do 30 minutes. All right, everybody doing okay? Okay. And then I'm just gonna start the dashi. So I've been soaking the kelp for like an hour or so, and I'm gonna put this on low heat. Then I'm gonna bring it up to almost the boiling point. Then I'm gonna turn it off, take the kelp out, and add the bonito in it. Okay. All right, next. Let's do Namasu pickles. A surprise visit here. Okay. All right, so we're gonna do Namasu, which is the pickled daikon and carrots. Nama means raw. Su means vinegar. So it's usually a vinaigrette on raw vegetables. But often you're gonna see the daikon and carrots for the color contrast. You might see this served at some festivals, New Year's, because white and red represent happiness.
Mhm.
So I'm going to have the carrots and daikon radish. And this is probably best if it marinates a little bit longer than, say tonight, 20, 30 minutes. So it can sit in the fridge and it'll taste even better tomorrow. Now, I don't know if you have the slicer, mandolin slicer. If you don't freak out because I'm gonna do partially with this and partially with the knife. If you have one of these, this is really handy. You can have different. So this is just a slicer, mandolin slicer. Then you can add different blades in to cut vegetables into julienne shape.
Instead of daikon, could folks use hakuri turnips?
Maybe. I've never tried it before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me know
Sounds
how
like
it goes.
Yeah, it sounds like a safe thing to try with,
I
at
think
least.
so. And at Co-op, they have purple daikon radish, and I almost did that
True.
too. That looks very pretty. Okay, so I'm gonna set this. Then let's get the ingredients for the vinegar or vinaigrette. is easy, simple. Okay, in a saucepan, I'm gonna turn this low, medium, and add the vinegar and sugar. It's like a pickled brine. So we need the vinegar and sugar, a little bit of salt. So I'm gonna wait until this heats up, then I'm gonna add the sugar and water and lemon. So I'm making a little bit less since it's just me and Laura here. I don't have a whole class. Now, there's something to, if there's a zester, that would be good, but later, yeah. So later I'm gonna put the zest in there, then the lemon juice. Okay, let me see, make sure this is getting warm. Okay, this one is getting warm. Okay, so while I wait, let's peel some carrots and daikon radish. I'd like to bring my garbage here and peel the carrots. Okay, and the daikon radish you can peel with a peeler too. How's your vinegar? Is it warming up? Mine, I'm gonna turn up the heat just a little bit. Okay. And add the sugar in here. Okay. Don't forget to stir. You don't want to have like the sugar stuck to the bottom. Okay. So if you were using the slicer, you can just, do that. And mine's very fine. So this doesn't need to marinate too long. Very good. If you're using it, make sure you wash your hands. Now, if you're not using the mandolin, let's cut them in bias. So in an angle, like as thin as you can, right? And once you have slices, then you can kind of bring them together. Then we're gonna do julienne slice. My rice is down. Then you want to curl your fingers and go from one edge, go all the way, nice and thin. If you took my last class, you probably did a lot of burdock and carrots this way. It's the same way. I'm just cutting the carrots and daikon thinner, because we're gonna eat this raw, so I want to have like a more refined taste. All right, so it's pretty close. Now, if you cut them in bias, you still have the crunch, but it's easier to it's a little softer. Whereas if you don't cut it in bias. It's a lot crunchier and takes a little bit longer to soak. So I recommend cutting them in bias for this recipe. So let's do that for some more. What are you guys using? Knife? Mandolin maybe? Some of you? It's actually a good knife skill practice. Alright, I'm gonna check my brine.
Do you think you'll be cutting both the carrots and the daikon?
I
bias
might
of
use
that?
a mandolin for the other one, so it goes a little faster and people don't get bored. Okay, now I can smell the kelp.
Mhm.
I'm gonna turn it up. I'm gonna turn it to double that my kelp. Okay. All right, so carrots, let's cut them. Now this knife is called vegetable knife, and it's a double blade, so there are blades on both ends, and it's really good for cutting something that's a little bit heavier. Like, you know, it works fine for leafy greens, but it works really well for, like, say if you're cutting root vegetables, especially like burdock carrots, radishes. It has a nice weight to it that you can kind of push it down onto.
You said that is it nama or nama means raw?
Nama means raw.
And there was another word that you used, su?
Namasu. Su is vinegar.
Ah, su.
Namasu. And daikon, usually if you have a skinnier one, you can just start cutting. This is kind of a round and big, so I'm gonna cut it into half. Then if you're using mandolin, you can just slice this.
You're wondering if the kelp did not get soaked in advance for the dashi, can they still do it now, or is it a...
Yeah, it's best if you soak it because you want to get the flavor out. But maybe better than no dashi. So go for it. I'm gonna. No, it's okay. Alright. Now the problem with this one is it gets stuck a little bit, so occasionally I have to stop and pull stuff out. My daikon is a little bit on the dry side and it's kind of keep breaking up. I hope you have a very fresh daikon radish. So I'm just gonna shred same amount as the carrots.
We want to know a little more about dashi. What's all in it? What do you feel about the packets that you can get? Probably not as amazing as some Koshiki made dashi, but
We used to make dashi at the restaurant every day. It was 5-10 gallon pot, 2 of them on the weekends. Homemade dashi is great. It just doesn't last too long, so you might want to just use it up. But it's not like chicken stock. It only, if you can pre-soak the kelp, then it only takes 15-20 minutes to make it. So it's pretty easy to make at home. Now my kelp water is about to boil, so I'm gonna turn this off. You don't want to like over boil the kelp or the bonito. So sorry, excuse me for a second, but I'm gonna take this out. And in here, I'm gonna add bonito flakes. This is the dried tuna. A lot of times skipjack tuna is used for bonito, or the katsuobushi they call it. And you can measure it, but I usually just grab a handful. And then I'm gonna let this steep for 15 minutes. Okay. What's the clock? That's it. Then we're gonna strain this and it's ready to go.
Can you freeze it if you make
Nah,
too much?
I wouldn't. I would keep it in the fridge for a couple days, then just say goodbye at that point. And like I said, it's pretty easy to make. So, you know, make a smaller batch and keep it in the fridge for a few days. All right, so that's dashi. I'm gonna wait 15 minutes, then use a little strainer, then strain this into something else. Ready to go. Now my vinegar and sugar, it took a while. Sugar is dissolved, so I'm gonna turn it off at water, add lemon juice. Always wanna add the lemon juice at the end. Just keep it nice and fresh. And I probably should have done just a little bigger chunks. You can cut back and peel if you're not like my kids don't like peel too much, so I usually don't put too much. But I think that's pretty good. And I'm gonna put this in ice, or if you can put it in the refrigerator somewhere cold, so we can soak the carrots and daikon. Okay. How's the daikon and carrots? You guys are good? Okay. Now let's put these in the bowl. I'm gonna do a little bit more of the daikon radish. I have sliced my finger before, so if you have like a glove or towel, this is not nice. A little bit more.
Can you repeat the proportions for the dashi again one more time?
Sure. I don't have it measured, but right now I probably have like 3 or 4 cups of water and like a little piece of dried kelp. That's what you can soak into it. Hour, 3 hours, you know, at least 30 minutes will be good. Bring it to turn the heat on. You don't want to boil it, but bring it to almost boiling point. Turn it off, take the kelp out, and add, that's like a light handful, maybe like, this is 30 grams, so maybe like 5 grams or so, 5 less than 10 grams of the bonito. And we're gonna steep this for 15 minutes. Then we're gonna strain it and it's ready to be used. Okay, and I think I'm gonna stop here. I'm gonna add a little salt here. It says teaspoon or so. I'm doing half the amount, so I'm gonna toss this. And this is gonna let it sweat, and we'll come back with that. All right. So nice red and orange color. Okay. Let me tidy up this area a little bit. And you can use daikon and carrots for like, I don't know, simmering dish or other dishes too.
I'm so curious, where are folks chiming in from? Do you want to drop it into the chat where you're cooking with us today? We're in the States or across the world. Feel free to let us know where you're tuning in from. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah. So last time,
Vancouver, Hawaii.
Hawaii?
In the UK, it's very late there. It's past, I think it's past midnight. San Antonio, Texas, Tacoma, Washington, St. Louis, Missouri, Rochester, New York. My best friend lives in Rochester, New York. Arizona, Hibbing, Minnesota, Bellevue, Washington, Lake Tahoe. We got someone 2 blocks from here and all over the place. There's a former,
Close or near or far, yeah.
a former Tampopo employee.
I think I saw her and her kids and the husband. I'm gonna check the oven really quick. Not
Sure.
too much going
Chiming
on.
in from Sydney, Australia.
Australia.
Wow.
That must be like, that's quite a time difference, isn't it?
Yes. It's either very late or very early. I gotta admit, I don't know the world clock very well.
Yeah.
Hello from Cincinnati, Tucson, Torrance, California, Ottawa. Oh, everybody, everywhere. So wonderful.
See, this is something we couldn't have done when we had the in-person classes. We are limited to 12 or 15 people that can actually drive here. So it's great. I get to see so many people from such a different part of the world too. So anyways, okay, everybody's doing good. I think so. And you can kind of see like your carrots and daikon radish getting softer and start releasing some moisture. We check the vinaigrette too. Oh, nice and cold. Okay. All right, so at this point, I'm gonna get a bowl. Yellow bowls.
Nancy says when it's time to travel again, you'll get all of these folks signing up to travel with you.
Oh no, that would be great. If you think your daikon and carrots are soft and releasing water, let's go ahead and like rinse it off really quick. Then let's work with our hands. We're gonna squeeze the water out. Okay, so not so little, but break it up and put it in a different bowl. Okay. And last one here. Okay. All right, and then in here, add the vinegar. Or the vinaigrette. You don't have to use everything, just enough to kind of soak the carrots and daikon radish. The color looks so pretty. A little bit more. All right, then, you know, like I said, it's best if it sits in the fridge for a little longer, but kind of,
Lovely.
yep. And I'm gonna set this aside. Okay. All right, and let's do the maybe another 5 minutes for dashi. So I'm gonna wait that, and we're gonna make Oyako Donburi using this carrots, onion. You know what oyako means? Oyako
that someone knows.
That means mother and child.
Oh,
It's cute, sad but cute. It's a chicken and egg. So people's been eating like, meat and vegetable over rice for a long, long time, probably all over the world, and Japan is no exception. But probably what we call donburi today was kind of got started during late 1800s to early 1900s, where people it's a little more refined rice, and there are the most like favorite top five donburi would be, one is Oyako Donburi, one is Gyu Donburi, which is a beef and onions. It's like a caramelized in soy and mirin. What is it? Tempura Donburi is a popular one. Maybe you've had it before too. What else? Katsu Donburi. It's like the panko bread and fried pork with egg and onions over rice. And maybe the last one would be like a kaisen donburi, which is the assortment of raw fish on top of rice. So there are a lot of different varieties. Like I take people to the Tsukiji fish market in Tokyo, and you see so many little shops serving kaisen donburi. That's raw seafood on top of the rice, and that's a very popular dish. But today we're doing the mother and child chicken and egg dish. So let's get stuff prepped up here. Let's get the ingredients here. Measure my soy sauce and mirin. And Dashi is right here. I'm gonna have my measuring cup here. Okay, are you guys ready? Sort of.
Is poke bowl a kind of donburi, or
Which one?
Poke bowl?
Poke bowl. That's very similar to the kaisen donburi. The poke bowls, I think it's usually the seafood that's Hawaiian style, where the seafood is like tossed in with sauce, maybe like a soy-based sauce, and served over rice. Usually the kaisen donburi, if you're in Japan, those are just like a plain slices of sashimi over rice. Then have like the dipping sauce, or you can drizzle soy sauce on top. Okay, I'm just gonna cook for two. When I'm at home, I cook for four, and I think this might be a good size for me today. And this takes like very little time, right? And it's very easy, economical, cheap. Yeah. So onion, I'm gonna use half, and a little bit of carrots. Typically they don't put carrots, but I kind of like it for the color. Green onion towards the end. Chicken thigh, I just got it here at the co-op. I have 3 eggs. If you're doing more, go ahead and double the amount. I have mirin, it's a sweetened rice wine, and soy sauce. And that's it. And on the top, I sprinkle little shredded nori sheets and little hot pepper if you like. You can sprinkle a little hot pepper. Okay, now I'm gonna do the vegetables first. So today I'm just doing a smaller portion, so maybe half or a little less than half of the onion for me. Okay, and the carrots. I guess I have the other carrot that I can use up too. Okay, so onion, I'm just gonna slice. A little bit on the bigger side. I think that's good for my And carrots you can slice or you can julienne, however you prefer. I'm gonna julienne this a little bit bigger than the one I made for Namasu. Okay. Then green onions, it's kind of for the color, so I'm gonna just chop the green part. You can use the white part too, but I would maybe put it in with the yellow onions. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna do that. And if you don't like really sharp green onion flavor, you can add this in earlier, or you can use this as a garnish too. Okay. So I think that's the veggies. Now we have the chicken. Chicken thigh is commonly eaten in Japan. If you're in Japan, they consider chicken thigh superior to chicken breast. So the price is like the tenderloin would be the cheapest.
Wow.
Chicken breast next, and chicken thigh would be probably on the very expensive end. I mean affordable, but compared to the other parts. Isn't it fun? I'm just gonna cut this into a 1 bite size. Cut this and check on my mochi.
How do you know when the mochi is done?
Well, it's been 30 minutes. It usually take 40 minutes, 45 minutes on my oven, but I usually like to check it beforehand. And then you can use chopsticks or skewer. Put the skewer in. It's just like if you're baking a cake. If the skewer comes out clean, it's ready.
Do you ever add a tiny bit of the sashimi to the namasu?
Which one?
Sashimi? Is that right?
Sashimi?
Is it sashimi? Yeah.
Is that raw fish?
Maybe.
Or
Is that what we're asking?
Shichimi?
Oh, maybe that's it.
Shichimi pepper. Yeah, I like to sprinkle a little bit at the end. Okay, mine starts smelling really good and start like kind of puffing up. So I'm gonna, but it looks a little wet on the top. So I'm gonna do maybe another 5 to 10 minutes. I'll do 7 minutes. I don't know, you check yours. If it looks like it's all raised up and looks golden on top, take a skewer or, chopsticks and go through it. If it comes out clean, it should be ready. If not, just put it back for like I did. And I think the dashi is ready, so I'm gonna strain this.
Where did you get that knife? That knife?
I got it in a place called Kitchen Town in Tokyo. This is like a mile stretch of this little town along Sumida River. Well, not along, but close by, where they only sell kitchen items for like a wholesale home cook. It's a great place. I go there every time I go to Japan just to buy a few things. You can buy chef's coat, knives, dishes, and everything, plates. I bought like a nabiyaki bowl. Some of the stuff that's hard to find here is like everything is there. So if you're going to Japan, I highly recommend to go there. It's called kappabashi. But if you Google Kitchen Town in Tokyo, I think that'll pop up. Okay, so dashi is good to go. So Oyako Donburi. Let me add the soy sauce, mirin, and dashi in here first. Like again, I'm doing half amount. So you do what you need to do. I'm hearing a lot of noises.
No, I don't know what that is.
I hope it's not like emergency.
It sounds like someone left their phone on public or something. That is a store problem, not an us problem. It sounds like
Mirin and soy sauce. Okay, then I turn the heat on.
there it goes.
There you go. All right, then in here, once it kind of get incorporated, I'm gonna add the onions, stuff that cooks the longest. Now the onion's gonna release the sweetness, so kind of make the dish nice and sweet. I'm gonna add carrots. And I added the whiter part of the green onions in here too. You can, you don't have to. And now let's bring this up to simmer here.
Would using a light soy sauce here make much of a difference?
Oh, the low sodium or the thin
Probably
color?
probably the low
Light soy
sodium.
sauce should be okay, and you can just kind of taste it and see, you know, if you want more, you might. Now, one thing is like when after I put the chicken in here, I'm gonna taste, and you want to have this like a kind of strong flavor, more like a bold flavor, because we're gonna add eggs and we're gonna serve this over white rice, which doesn't have seasonings. So want to make sure this is nice and flavored. You don't want to have it too like thin and, you know, doesn't have a punch. You want to punch in here. Okay, I'm gonna bring this up. And meantime, I have 3 eggs. You could have more. Depends on your size. And now the dashi, I have kelp. You can use this for cooking, or you can make secondary dashi. Actually, one thing I really like to do is I like to slow cook pork and root vegetable with star anise and add kelp to it. And that this releases more flavor into it, and it goes really good. It's similar to kind of more like an Okinawa style dish. They eat a lot of kelp and pork, and maybe that's why they have like the world's longest longevity.
Yeah.
So maybe eating kelp would help. But
Yeah.
you don't have to throw it away. You can, or you can add it to your compost. Okay, start bubbling a little bit. I'm gonna just simmer it just a little bit before I add chicken. I'm gonna check my mochi. Oh, it looks pretty good. Mine is not quite ready yet, but it's really popping up now. If you jiggle it a little bit, and if it moves in the middle, definitely it's not ready. Stick it back in. Okay, there you go. And then here, now the onion gets a little soft. I'm gonna add the chicken. Break them loose. Okay, it smells really good. smells like restaurant now.
Yeah, it does.
Alright, just gonna cook it through, or almost. You don't want to overcook it, but never want to undercook the chicken.
And that's some really high quality chicken that you're using there, because we get our chicken from Catagen Farms
Okay.
in Minnesota, and they are a really fantastic local local farm that has free range chicken that is just treated about the best you can treat chicken in the industry, and they're long term partners with us. So that's some good stuff that you have in there.
They have great meat selection. We used to, at the restaurant, we used to get duck from Wild Acres.
Oh
And I
yeah,
noticed you guys carry Wild Acre duck, ground duck. I've had it and it's really good, and a lot of other things too.
Mhm.
But yeah. And they have a CSA coming up.
Yep,
You have a fair right now?
Yep, we have our CSA fair right now. So if you're in Minnesota or in the Twin Cities area, you can check out our CSA fair, which is live on our website right now. And honestly, even if you're not in the Twin Cities area looking for a seasonal CSA, I recommend checking out some of the content that we have for these farms anyway. So if you're not sure, CSA is community supported agriculture, and essentially it's an investment that you make in a local farm that lets you receive the fruits of their labors throughout the growing season. So you get boxes pretty much every week or every other week full of vegetables and fruits that they grow on their farms. And so for our fair, we ask a lot of these farms to submit videos from the farm talking about their experience of the past year, how the pandemic has affected them as farmers. And a lot of these farms have come up with some really incredible, very touching, very cool videos about what life is like on, a rural farm in Minnesota during a pandemic. So Seward.coop will have that on there. It's definitely worth looking at. Super interesting.
You can volunteer too.
Yeah, you can volunteer
this summer too.
That's right.
So in here, I'm gonna drizzle eggs. If you have more than 3, I would drizzle half, then let that almost cook through, then drizzle the other half. But I only have 3, and I can probably drizzle all of them. You want to have the egg cook through, but at the same time, you kind of want to have a little bit of the runny side left. And I'm sorry, I did try the sauce a little bit, and the onion wasn't too sweet, so I added a little more mirin in mine. So, depends on your flavor, and you taste it, and it's a little bit on the stronger side, like I said, but that's okay because I just added eggs, and we're gonna serve this over rice. And at this point, I'm gonna sprinkle onions. You can do that at the end too if you like it. I kind of like my onions a little bit on the cooked side. I'm gonna turn this really like a medium low and cover it maybe for a little bit until the egg sets. Like not overcooked, but just to kind of set. It's kind of hard. You gotta take a peek a little here and there. I think my mochi is a little bit need a little more time. Okay. Let's take a peek. A little bit longer. I'm not a big fan of runny eggs. If you're in Japan and order this, chances are you're gonna have a little bit on the runny end, just so you know.
Do we want to get a peek at what it looks like so far? Okay. So you're getting that a little thick, but not super thick yet.
And I think actually mine looks good, so I'm gonna turn the heat off. And that's it.
I'll show you what that looks like. That's what we've got.
All right. Now let's serve this. So I'm gonna put some rice. Grab something else here. There's a little bit of the soup, so make sure you get that. I don't want something in between. Okay.
Lovely, lovely.
And then on here. Okay. You know, you don't have to, but I kind of like little nori sheets on there, like just a sprinkle. You can shred them or you can slice them. A little bit of the shichimi pepper.
And that's the hot pepper.
Yep. This here, and then I have the pickled daikon and carrots. Just gonna try a little bit. Nice and refreshing. I got a little plate with sakura flowers
So cute.
for the season. I think sakura is blossoming in Japan right now. So it's in Washington,
Yep.
DC.
Yep, that's right.
Put little
Beautiful.
sesame. And then I don't think my baked mochi. Ooh, let me see. I think mine's like maybe 10 more minutes. So I'll show you. Mine's puffing up, but it's still a little bit jiggly on the middle.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna put it back in for another 10 minutes. So today I think it's taking maybe 45 minutes altogether, but it's kind of depends on your oven too. So keep an eye on it. Let's set another 7 minutes. Okay. So maybe we'll just do this today. The final shot. There. So today was a very easy and economical but tasty Oyako Donburi today. And the little side, it's always good with a little bit of pickles or kimchi, or if you have dashi, if you have miso in the fridge, go ahead and make yourself a little cup of miso soup. That would go really well together.
Yeah, I wonder if how folks are doing on their
Are
end.
you able to make your Oyako Donburi? Can somebody show me your Oyako Donburi?
Yeah, or if anyone's stuck or has questions or anything like that, feel free to drop them in the chat. We've got a couple of minutes for that mochi to finish up, so if you need some catch-up time, this is great catch-up time.
You got the baked mochi.
Yay.
Lovely.
Lovely.
Right. Looks good. So I just want to let you know, I do have another class coming up. While I wait for any comments or mochi, I have a hiyashi chuka dish that's next month, May 6th, Thursday. That's a chilled ramen noodle, and we're actually gonna make the homemade noodles here, then do the toppings and dressings. So that was very popular at the restaurant, especially during summertime. It's almost like noodle salad dish, and I think it's since the weather's getting warmer, I think it would be a perfect dish to do. So So I hope you can enjoy for that,
Yeah.
join for that class too. Again, it's free and you can go, I think it's on the Seward Co-op website right now. So yeah, feel free to
It sure
sign up.
is. And I will put the address for all of our classes in the chat box right now, so you can take a look at that. So they're wondering, Mochi, will it be dry or moist in the center? So it's not going to jiggle so much anymore, but is it?
Right, it probably, it's kind of hard to, it'll be very moist. And when it's done, it's very chewy. But it should still cook through. So take it out, use a skewer or like a thin chopsticks and see if it comes out clear, then it should be ready.
Great. Do you want me to unmute folks if they have any questions that they want to just verbally
Sure,
ask
looks like
you?
everybody's busy cooking.
I know, it's
Yeah.
hard to type stuff.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and let folks unmute yourselves if you want to, or yeah. I'm gonna let you unmute yourselves if you want to ask Koshiki any questions. Feel free to just chime in, and if you're having any questions about any of this cooking or Japan or anything that we've talked about tonight, feel free to chime in.
Let's see. I can tell. Oh, I'll let people chime in. I think I've done enough talking.
I saw a recipe on your website that was pounding sesame seeds, and it looks like you need a special device to actually make like a sesame seed paste. Could you talk about that a little bit, please?
Sure. Which recipe are you talking about?
I actually don't remember. It was one of the ones on the Japanese kitchen, but it looked like there's actually a special type of mortar and pestle for dealing with sesame seeds. So I was curious if you could talk about that for a moment.
Sure. I think what you're referring to is called Suribachi. That's the bowl, and it has like grits, and surikogi, which is it's a wooden stick. And what you do is you can use that to grind sesame seeds for, say, salad dressing. If you want to toss like spinach with sesame dressing, you can make that. But what you do is put the toasted sesame in, grind them against the grits, and then make, it doesn't become like paste, but it breaks down and it really gives you a nice aroma. But we do use it. I think maybe the recipe you're referring to is spinach with sesame dressing or something like that. I think, yeah, okay, I see it. Where you take blanched spinach, then in the suribachi, you grind sesame seeds, add a little sugar, soy sauce, a little mirin, then make a little paste, and you take the blanched spinach, cut it up, put it in and toss it. That's a very classic Japanese dish called goma ai. Goma is sesame and ai means to toss together. So,
Oh, nice.
yeah, but I use that to make salad dressing and other dishes too.
Let's see it.
Oh my gosh.
Sarah and
I see Easter Bunny.
Sarah and Keela, is that it?
Sarah and Kayla.
Keela.
Hi.
My question was, where in Japan did you grow up?
Ooh, are you familiar with Japan?
No, I've never been. I was just
So
wondering.
I grew up in southern part of Japan. So if you have Hokkaido, that's a northern Japan. That's like Minnesota, it's very cold. Then you have a Honshu, it's a long stretch of island. That's where Tokyo and all the big cities. Then there's Shikoku Island. Then there's a Kyushu. And I grew up in the Kyushu Island. But if you look up my name, I was born on an island called Koshiki Island. Mm-hmm. So if you type in Koshiki Island in Japan, that'll come up.
Love that.
I won't forget one.
That's great.
Yeah.
Who we got here? Kristen?
Yeah. And
Y'all got a
her
question?
husband, the
Bunny ears?
Bunny. Somebody's celebrating Easter this weekend, I think. I think this year we can finally maybe get together with some people. I remember last year was all, I think we did Zoom Easter. That wasn't much fun for kids. Oh, looks good. Well, I think my mochi's done. I'm gonna pull it out. If I can pull it out without burning myself. All right. Oh, yeah, mine comes out clear.
All
It
right.
almost looks wet, but you can kind of tell if it's uncooked, undercooked, then you get batter on your chopstick. So you can see it nice and fluffy. It's gonna flatten out. Okay, somebody else is showing their cake too. Looks good.
Beautiful.
Looks good.
Nice.
Sarah and Kayla. All right. So, well, thank you everybody for joining me tonight or joining us tonight. That was so. Oh, thank you. Oh, somebody ate already.
Aw.
Oh, look at that. That's beautiful.
Nice.
Looks nice. Me and Tracy. Well, thank you so much. And I hope you enjoyed the dinner tonight, and maybe I'll get to see you next time. All right. Thank you.
Thanks,
Yeah,
y'all.
bye. Oh, such a wonderful group of people.
どうもありがとう。
どういたしまして。またね。
またね。